Introduction to Douluo's Magic Blade and Ontology Martial Soul. Each Douluo character has their own unique personality traits. Beautiful skin is uniform, and interesting souls are one in a million. Lin Yizhang travels through Douluo and awakens his twin martial souls. Magic Blade and Ontology. Lin Yizhang, who has a broad vision, does not intend to follow Tang San and engage in a battle of wits and courage with him, but rather in his own way. Chapter 1. Crossing to Douluo. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. In the early morning, warm sunlight shone into the small wooden house, and a soft beam of light shone on the face of the little boy on the small wooden bed. The little boy opened his eyes in a daze, rubbed them, and looked around. Looking at this somewhat dilapidated wooden house, Lin Yizhang was bewildered. Where is this? Suddenly, a tingling pain flashed through my mind, and memories flooded into my mind. I stayed up late last night to watch Douluo anime, and this morning I went on a dangerous mountain trip with my arranged friends. However, due to poor mental health, I fell off a cliff from a dangerous place and fainted in front of me. Now when I open my eyes, I can see this unfamiliar environment. Did someone save themselves? Lin Yizhang thought to himself. Then Lin Yizhang saw his small arms and legs, and a thought came to his mind. He couldn't have been transported or reborn, could he? Are you dreaming? Lin Yizhang bit his tongue and hissed, it hurts so much, it shouldn't be a dream. Lin Yizhang quickly got up, ran to the small table next to the wooden bed, and picked up the mirror on the table to take a look. I saw myself in the mirror with a short head of light blue hair, a young and tender face, fair skin, and a very cute appearance, just like a cute little Zhengtai. Next, Lin Yizhang sat back on the bed, sorting out whether there were any memories left by his predecessor in his mind. After careful sorting, Lin Yizhang found that there were indeed some memories in his memory. From his memory, Lin Yizhang learned that his predecessor was named Lin Yi, and his place of residence was called Xinghun Village. It was a small village located at the border between the Tiando Empire and the Xingluo Empire in Douluo continent. My predecessor was an orphan. In my memory, my father was a soul warrior with an innate soul power of 0.5 level, and my martial soul was a cracked iron sword. My mother's martial soul is a standard abandoned martial soul blue-silver grass, without innate soul power. When my father was 5 years old, his soul power was only level 5. When he went hunting in the forest, he had an accident and was injured by a fierce beast in the mountains. When he returned home, his injuries were too severe and the treatment was ineffective. Soon after, he passed away, and my mother also passed away with excessive sadness. My predecessor grew up eating 100 family meals in the village after my parents passed away. Yesterday, while playing with the children in the village by the river, I accidentally fell into the water and was rescued by the adults in the village before falling into a coma. I think it was because I didn't make it through in the end, which led me to inexplicably cross over to him, Lin Yizhang thought. It seems that I have already traveled to the Douluo continent. Speaking of crossing time, do you have your own golden finger? Then Lin Yizhang summoned and searched, only to find that he did not have any golden fingers. Forget it, there won't be any golden fingers. If there really is a system or something like a golden finger, I will actually feel uneasy. As the saying goes, there is no free lunch in the world. If there is really a system to make oneself a god, that would be scary. Without discovering the golden finger, Lin Yizhang was not disappointed, but rather more convinced that this was a real world. As a well-behaved student, Lin Yizhang remained disciplined and not tempted when his peers in middle and high school were chasing after novels from Douluo continent. In the end, he successfully got into a good university. After returning home from winter vacation, Lin Yizhang felt very bored and turned on the TV to find the anime of Douluo continent to watch. Watching it, he became fascinated. After 2 days of crazy drama chasing, I stayed up late last night to watch it again. Before going to bed, I saw over 100 episodes of Douluo continent anime's Tiando Palace incident. When Lin Yizhang saw Qian Renxue in the Tiando Palace incident, promising Tang San that he could sacrifice 2 Douluo titles beside him to vent his anger and recruit the son of Tang Hao, the enemy who killed his father. Lin Yizhang felt that he couldn't bear it anymore. Plus, I was too tired, so I decisively turned off the TV and went back to my room to sleep. So Lin Yizhang's understanding of Douluo continent is only limited to the anime he has watched and some fragmented knowledge he has seen through online video browsing. However, in Lin Yizhang's view, knowing the world development trajectory in the first part is also sufficient. With the arrival of oneself, the trajectory of the world's development will also change. Knowing too much may actually lead to falling into a thinking misconception. Lin Yizhang, who had understood the current situation, walked out the door when Grandpa Jack, the village chief of Holy Soul Village, happened to come over. As soon as old Jack saw Lin Yizhang, he smiled happily and asked, "Little one, you finally woke up. How do you feel? Is there anything uncomfortable in your body?" Lin Yizhang was stunned for a while before realizing it. His current name is Lin Yi, and he used to be used to being called Xiaozhang by others, so he couldn't react for a moment. Lin Yizhang then replied, "I feel very good. I didn't feel any discomfort in my body." "Thank you, Grandpa Jack." Old Jack said again, "By the way, little one, I have one more thing to tell you. Tomorrow, the Soul Master from the Martial Soul Hall will come to the village to help awaken the martial soul. You must be 6 years old now. Remember to go to the Martial Soul Hall in the village tomorrow morning to awaken the martial soul." Lin Yizhang quickly replied, "Okay, Grandpa Jack, I understand. Tomorrow, I will go to awaken my martial soul on time." Old Jack said, "Just know. You've been unconscious for so long, you must be hungry. You haven't eaten yet, have you? Go to Grandpa Jack's house for breakfast." Lin Yizhang responded and followed him to old Jack's house for breakfast. At noon and evening, I still went to other homes in the village to grab a meal as before. When it comes to enjoying a meal, there is no memory in my mind of going to Tang San's house to enjoy a meal. The reason is that the village elder Jack saw that Tang Hao had earned all the money from forging iron and asked him to buy wine for himself. Even Tang San had to cook by himself. He often drank porridge, so he was not allowed to go to Tang San's house to eat. Soon, the next morning, Lin Yizhang arrived at the Martial Soul Hall in the village. He noticed that several children were already waiting in front of the hall, discussing the awakening of the martial soul. Watching them chatting happily there, Lin Yizhang couldn't help but look forward to the awakening of his martial soul. If one does not have innate soul power after awakening their martial soul, then they have 2 paths to choose from. Either they can rely on the knowledge accumulated in their past lives to fight, either plan Tang San's Xiantian Gong. Yu reading www.yuyukeangshu.net. He learned from his previous life that Xiantian Gong is a technique that can cultivate soul power out of thin air. If you have innate soul power, even a useless martial soul is not a big deal. After all, influenced by many novel ideas in your past life, you can create some self-created soul skills that can be achieved with soul power, and you are not afraid of not achieving them. Even though the rules of the world may be different and there are many theoretical knowledge that are not applicable in this world, there are always some that are universal. For example, the simplest way is to go hunting, and even if you have learned many techniques from your past life, you can still earn a certain income and not starve to death in this Douluo continent. Has innate soul power but not exceeding level 7. It's okay, you can plan for the immortal grass to avoid being helpless. Even if planning the danger of the immortal grass, it's not a big deal. After all, in Lin Yizhang's view, what people are most afraid of is no hope, not fear the difficulties ahead. If the innate soul power exceeds level 7, that would be even better. After becoming a little genius, there are more ways out. Looking at the worst, if one fails to awaken their martial soul due to being a traveler, then one should honestly become a farmer and believe that they will also be the best farmer in the future. This is the confidence of the traveler. Of course, if you have traveled to this world, you should focus on reality, and your life is the most important. We cannot act recklessly based on our own assumptions. In one sentence, game thinking is bound to die young, while logical thinking can last the most. After thinking these things clearly in his mind, Lin Yizhang felt that his future was bright. Upon regaining his senses, Lin Yizhang saw two more children next to him. In the distance, old Jack was pulling an ordinary-looking child with short black hair and wearing a slightly shabby light blue clothes. I think that's the original protagonist Tang San. Chapter 2. Awakening Martial Soul. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Looking at Tang San, who is slowly approaching, Lin Yizhang feels that he is the same as the image in the cartoon. It seems that he has traveled to the anime version of Douluo. It's okay. The character image in the anime version is very in line with his own aesthetics. Lin Yizhang thought so and calmly averted his gaze. Tang San's eyes looked bright and lively, as if there was a flash of sharpness in them. Lin Yizhang knows his identity as a time traveler and knows that he has already practiced martial arts. At this time, his spiritual strength must exceed that of ordinary children. If I keep staring at him, he will definitely notice that I don't want to be noticed by him yet. At this moment, a young man who appeared to be in his 20s, with sword eyebrows and starry eyes, handsome appearance, and dressed as a direct subordinate of the Martial Soul Hall arrived. This person must be Su Yuntao. Soon, the Martial Soul Awakening ceremony officially began. I saw Su Yuntao open his package and take out 6 black awakening stones and a blue crystal ball from it. Su Yuntao placed 6 black stones on the ground in a hexagonal shape and gestured for the first child on the right to stand among them. Don't be afraid, close your eyes and feel it carefully. As he spoke, Su Yuntao's eyes suddenly lit up and he whispered, "A lone wolf, possessed." A wolf-shaped phantom appeared behind Su Yuntao and merged into his body. Her hair was originally black, but instantly turned gray and quickly grew longer. At the same time, hair appeared on his exposed hands, and at the same time, his body seemed to have expanded much more than before, filled with a muscular sensation throughout his body. The specific clothing of the Martial Soul Hall has good elasticity and did not explode due to his larger body size. Su Yuntao's eyes had turned into a faint green, and the sharp claws protruding from his fingers flickered with a faint cold light. At this moment, Su Yuntao was like a werewolf, full of a sense of oppression, making the children feel fearful and unconsciously retreat. Tang San, who was present, did not move a single step, but his body was tightly stretched, his fists clenched, and he appeared ready to fight at any time. Although Lin Yizhang knew about the plot, he was still very surprised and curious when it actually happened before his eyes. After all, even though Su Yuntao had no ill intentions at this moment, he still felt the strong sense of oppression from him. At the same time, 2 halos lit up from Su Yuntao's feet, constantly hovering from his feet to his head. One of them is a white 10-year soul ring, and the other is a yellow centenary soul ring. To be honest, the image of a martial soul possessed is very unique. Lin Yizhang still likes the changes in his body after being possessed by a martial soul. Although it's a bit strange, for him, who is at the age of 20 psychologically, he says this is not unacceptable. As Su Yuntao injected soul power into the awakening stone, the awakening of the martial soul began. Awakened 7 children in a row, none of whom had soul power and could not become soul masters. Now there are only myself and Tang San left. As the saying goes, the protagonist usually appears last, so when they first enter the queue, they stand on the far left and intentionally line up last. Tang San saw that it was his turn and calmly stepped into the awakening array. Due to knowing that Tang San is a twin martial soul, Lin Yizhang focused his attention on Tang San's left hand. Tang San's left hand showed a pitch-black hammer, with a cylindrical head and intricate patterns covering it, making it truly extraordinary. The hammer only appeared for a moment before Tang San retrieved it from his body. After testing Tang San's innate talent of full soul power, Su Yuntao became numb. Surprisingly, it is innate full of soul power. Unfortunately, blue silver grass is a useless martial soul. If I could awaken a better martial soul, I could. Sigh, forget it. Next one, Su Yuntao said as he looked at me. Lin Yizhang walked quickly into the awakening formation, filled with anticipation in his heart. With the injection of Su Yuntao's soul power, the awakening stone emitted a dazzling golden light. Lin Yizhang's body slowly suspended in the air, and countless golden light spots flooded into his body. At the same time, Lin Yizhang felt a warm current flowing into his body, very comfortable. As energy poured into his body, Lin Yizhang felt as if something was about to awaken. In the field, Su Yuntao's expression couldn't help but shake when he saw so many golden light spots appearing. He thought to himself, is it necessary to awaken a top-level martial soul? Su Yuntao couldn't help but look forward to it. If he truly awakened a genius soul master and recommended him to the Martial Soul Hall, he would surely become the owner of the Martial Soul Branch Hall in Notting City. It would not be difficult to marry Cece and reach the pinnacle of life. Lin Yizhang spread out his right hand and saw a long sword appear in the palm of his right hand. The blade of the long knife is composed of a black handle and a half-cut blade, with blue stripes on the blade that reveal the pattern of evil spirits. The blade on the half-cut blade is composed of thousands of fragments. At the same time, with the awakening of this knife, I felt my body suddenly filled with strength, as if all attributes had been greatly improved. Lin Yizhang clearly felt that his entire body was also his martial soul. Feeling the surging power inside his body, Lin Yizhang felt like he had been struck with innate soul power. Lin Yizhang opened his eyes and scanned the surroundings, especially Tang San and Su Yuntao, only to find that they had not noticed that their bodies were also their second martial soul. It seems that the external characteristics are not as obvious when the body's martial soul awakens, and the golden light in the awakening array helps to cover it up. Additionally, their attention is more focused on the martial soul on their right hand. Suddenly, when Lin Yizhang casually scanned Tang San, he noticed that he had cast his gaze onto his tightly held left hand. Lin Yizhang then lifted his left hand, but no martial soul appeared. Lin Yizhang noticed Tang San and then shifted his gaze. With the successful awakening of the martial soul, Lin Yizhang also fell back to the ground. Lin Yizhang collected his martial soul, Su Yuntao handed over the crystal ball, and Lin Yizhang placed his hand on it. Suddenly, the crystal ball emitted a dazzling light. Sure enough, you are born with full soul power again. Are you willing to join the Martial Soul Hall, child? As long as you join the Martial Soul Hall, you can be recommended to study at the Martial Soul Hall Academy in the Martial Soul City, and there will be a monthly subsidy of gold soul coins. Su Yuntao quickly issued a solicitation. Lin Yizhang yearns for freedom, and naturally wouldn't choose to join the Martial Soul Hall if there are other paths to choose from. Even if he intends to join the Martial Soul Hall, that's not right now. If Tang Hao knew that a child with innate soul power had joined the Martial Soul Hall, he would definitely kill him first without saying a word. Lin Yizhang had just figured out a suitable reason for rejection, and he released his long sword martial soul. Lin Yizhang's right hand touched the ground with the knife, and suddenly, thousands of fragments on the half of the blade completely shattered and fell to the ground. Suddenly, everyone in the hall showed expressions of jaw-dropping. Lin Yizhang also had a disappointed expression on his face at this moment. Yu Yu looked at Su Yuntao and said, "Master Su Yuntao, my martial soul is shattered. Will I be despised if I join the Martial Soul Hall?" At this moment, Su Yuntao was also confused. Previously, he thought this was a flawless martial soul, and it was innate full soul power, so he couldn't wait to invite Lin Yizhang to join the Martial Soul Hall. He never thought it would be another useless martial soul. Another useless martial soul, child. If you are willing to join our Martial Soul Hall, that would be great, but we cannot recommend you to study at the Martial Soul Hall Academy, Su Yuntao said disappointedly. Thank you, Master Su Yuntao. I'll stay in the village and work in the future, so I won't join the Martial Soul Hall, Lin Yizhang replied with an expression of helplessness. Su Yuntao didn't say anything more, just nodded. Then I handed over the proof of awakening my martial soul, which I had written in a playful way. At this point, all the children had already awakened, and the children's door was gradually leaving. Tang San also walked out. In the hall, Su Yuntao was packing his things, and Lin Yizhang continued, Master Su Yuntao, can you give me a meditation idea for martial soul cultivation? I want to try to continue practicing. Su Yuntao did not doubt how a child who had just awakened his martial soul knew about the dark thoughts. He only assumed that it was old Jack who told him. After all, old Jack often talked about Soul Saint, so it is not surprising to know this. I took out a small booklet from the package and handed it over, saying, it's okay. If you don't go to the Soul Master Academy, you won't get any meditation ideas. I'll give you a copy now. This is a common meditation method on the mainland. Having a universal meditation method is not a difficult task, it is not considered precious. I don't know if there are any other meditation methods in the hands of high-ranking powerful forces on the mainland. Even if there are, they must have similar effects. Otherwise, there would not be ordinary geniuses surpassing those with the same talent as the powerful forces. Chapter 3. Magic Knife Zero Blade. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. After taking over Ming's thoughts, Lin Yizhang walked towards the outside of the hall. Tang San had not left the door yet, and the other children had already left. Old Jack was also waiting, and Su Yuntao quickly walked out. Old Jack quickly approached and asked Su Yuntao if there were any children who could become soul masters. Su Yuntao said to Old Jack, there are 2 children born with full soul power, but unfortunately they are both useless martial souls. One is blue silver grass, and the other is Sigh. Before he could finish speaking, he sighed and shook his head before leaving. He had to continue to go to other villages to awaken his martial soul. Lin Yizhang walked up to Old Jack and reached out his left hand to support him, saying, Grandpa Jack, Tang San has awakened the innate soul power of blue silver grass, and the other is me. My martial soul is a broken sword. The right hand released the martial soul for Old Jack to watch, and the left hand lightly touched the blade, causing thousands of fragments on the blade to shatter and fall to the ground. Lin Yizhang continued, you can give the quota for working students in the village to Tang San, so I won't go to the Junior Soul Master College in Noting City. I have already made a decision, and Grandpa Jack, you don't have to make it difficult to give anyone the quota for working students. Old Jack said, I can go to the neighboring village to borrow a spot, or go to the Martial Soul Hall to discuss with the Soul Master to see if we can increase one spot. Seeing Old Jack persistently, Lin Yizhang no longer refuted. After all, it was Old Jack's wish to have a Soul Master in Holy Soul Village. Now that there are seedlings that can become Soul Masters, he cannot give up easily. Lin Yizhang had no choice but to say, then let's give Tang San the quota in our village. I'll see what happens. Tang San also said, Grandpa Jack, I still need to go back and ask my dad for his opinion. Old Jack said, becoming a soul master is a very honorable thing. Tang Hao, that drunkard, if he doesn't agree, I'll be anxious with him. Tang San didn't say anything and then walked towards home. Lin Yizhang also helped Old Jack walk towards his house. After Tang San returned home, he told Tang Hao that he had 2 martial souls and released the Haotian hammer. Tang Hao immediately hugged Tang San and instructed him to remember to protect the grass on his right hand with the hammer on his left hand. He also agreed to let Tang San study at the Junior College of Soul Masters in Noting City. After Tang Haosong let go, Tang San continued, just now, Lin Yi in the village also awakened his innate full soul power. His martial soul is a knife, but the blade shatters when it touches something. The predecessor of Lin Yizhang's body was Lin Yi, and he did not change his name to Lin Yizhang now. He thought he would change his name to Lin Yizhang and change his identity when he entered the Soul Master Society. Tang Haochu was surprised to hear Tang San say that someone had awakened their innate full soul power. After hearing Tang San say it was a broken sword, he asked, is it possible that he is a twin martial soul like you? Tang San replied, when he awakened his martial soul, I specifically looked at his left hand. His left hand did not show a martial soul. It was not a twin martial soul. After listening to Tang San's words, Tang Hao thought to himself, it's just a martial soul, and the martial soul seems to have flaws. Even if a martial soul with innate full soul power talent is not a disabled martial soul, its talent is still not comparable to Tang San's twin martial soul talent. So he said, it's just a useless martial soul. He turned around and drank a bowl of wine from the table, then walked back to the bedroom to continue sleeping. Tang San also continued his iron-making work and didn't think about anything else. Lin Yizhang also speculated about the situation on Tang San's side. Lin Yizhang believed that Tang Hao understood the meaning of innate soul power, so when awakening his martial soul, he deliberately extended his left hand, making Tang San mistakenly believe that he only had one martial soul. And he deliberately made others think that his martial soul was a useless one, so that he could avoid Tang Hao's possible probing and destruction. Tang Hao is currently in a state of evading the pursuit of the martial soul hall, and he will not easily use his soul master's strength. If his talent really poses a threat to Tang San, Tang Hao will definitely not let himself go. It is not difficult for Douluo to solve a child's problem without making any flaws. After Lin Yizhang showed weakness, Tang Hao thought he only had one martial soul. In Tang Hao's view, even if his sword martial soul was comparable to the 7-kill sword, he would not be Tang San's opponent. In the future, if he really could rise up, he might become Tang San's sharpening stone or capable assistant. Moreover, with the pride of Haotian Douluo, he would not be allowed to do such a thing without posing a threat to him, so Lin Yizhang is confident that he is safe. In the anime, it is also mentioned that except for Douluo, who does things solely based on his preferences, most other strong individuals have a strong demeanor. The title Douluo Powerhouse, who stands at the top of the Douluo world, still pays more attention to their reputation. After all, they enjoy glory, wealth, and respect from the world, which makes reputation even more important. Of course, if it weren't for Tang Hao but for Gu Douluo and Gu Rong, then he would definitely be killed by him. In the anime, Gu Douluo, who first saw Tang San, also planned to kill him. After having lunch at old Jack's house, Lin Yizhang returned to his own home. After closing the door, Lin Yizhang released his first martial soul. As soul power surged, a long sword appeared on the right hand. The blade of the long sword was composed of a black handle and a half-cut blade, with blue stripes on the blade, revealing the pattern of evil spirits. The blade on the half-cut blade was composed of thousands of fragments. Previously, when awakening the martial soul, I deliberately hid it to make others think it was just an abandoned martial soul, but in fact, it was not. My martial soul is very similar to a weapon I knew in my past life, and the name of that sword is Magic Knife Thousand Blades. Those who are familiar with this knife are unaware of its uniqueness. In the future, I will call my sword martial soul the Magic Blade Thousand Blades. Zhaoshuyuan.com. My first martial soul magic sword, Thousand Blade, comes with an innate realm. Thousand Blade Realm. Currently, it can increase my full attributes by 15% and weaken enemies by 10%. The realm can also evolve in the future. From this perspective, the martial soul level of the Magic Blade Thousand Blades is very high, not inferior to that of the Haotian hammer. The martial soul with poor level does not have an innate realm. In the previous life, the setting of the Magic Blade Thousand Blades was to only attack and not attack. Its aggressiveness is extremely strong. Although it claims to only attack without defense, it does not mean that it cannot be used for defense, and its defense is also very powerful. The thousand blades of the magic knife can change their shape and attack enemies in different ways. If you don't know how to use it, it's just an extremely fragile broken sword, and then you really become a useless martial soul. But Lin Yizhang is confident that he can unleash his extraordinary power. After all, now it is his martial soul. Lin Yizhang still vividly remembers several skills of the magic blade Thousand Blades in his mind. Thousand Blade Unification. Gather the fragments of the magic blade Thousand Blade to form a blade melee attack. Thousand Blade Chasing the Moon. Separate the fragments and freely change their shape. Thousand Blade Flying Star. Disperse the fragments of the magic knife and reassemble them to penetrate the opponent's defense. Sweeping 1,000 armies. 1,000 fragments hit the vital points of 1,000 enemies. Bloody Rain. Fragments spin at high speed to form a tornado that sucks in nearby enemies and pulverizes them. Thousand Blade Piercing Heart. 1,000 fragments appear in different directions of the enemy, simultaneously piercing through them. Thousand Blade Breaking. After the blade is inserted into the enemy's body, all fragments burst into the enemy's body from all directions and pierce through them. Thousand Blade Protection. Fragments form a semi-protective shield with extremely strong defense. These 8 skills flexibly utilize the Thousand Blade fragments, unleashing the power of the magic blade Thousand Blade to the extreme. Chapter 4. Training Direction. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin Yizhang speculated that the 8 skills of the magic blade Thousand Blades should be able to be released through soul power and spiritual power after becoming familiar with martial souls and achieving precise control of soul power, without the need for additional soul rings. That is to say, these 8 skills can be used as self-created soul skills. The more soul power attached to the magic blade, the higher the quality of soul power, and the more precise the control of spiritual power, the greater the power of the released skills. In Lin Yizhang's plan, he still plans to add soul rings to turn these skills into soul skills. Why can one use a self-created soul skill and turn it into a soul skill? The reason is as follows. Firstly, the soul skills bestowed by the soul ring are equivalent to giving a certain degree of rule power. Using soul skills to release consumes less soul and spiritual power than using self-created soul skills, and has greater power. Secondly, there are benefits to practicing the main body martial soul first. Soul masters generally have attribute bias in their martial souls, but there is no attribute bias in the main body martial soul. The soul power cultivated should belong to non-attribute soul power, which has many uses. Moreover, by attaching a soul ring to the main body martial soul, one can greatly enhance their physical fitness. At that time, one can use the advantages of the main body martial soul to try to create a cultivation technique that suits oneself. After all, meridians are also a part of the body. In the state where the body's martial soul is possessed by the martial soul, try slowly. As long as you act carefully and do not rush for success, even if it causes some minor damage to the meridians, you can recover and not become a useless person. Furthermore, after increasing the level of soul power, using both soul power and spiritual power to wield the skill of magic knife Thousand Blades can also exert impressive power, which is equivalent to cultivating 2 martial souls at the same time. In addition, these 8 skills are the most important means of using the magic blade Thousand Blades, and greatly enhancing its skill power is the top priority, rather than pursuing secondary skills for the sake of more skills. Of course, the soul ring and soul skills obtained by hunting soul beasts cannot be artificially controlled, and it does not mean that you can obtain any soul skill you want. After obtaining the divine bestowed soul ring in the future, you can control the soul skills you want by attaching the divine bestowed soul ring to the magic blade Thousand Blades. Lin Yizhang used to watch videos online in his past life, but he knew that the soul rings bestowed by the gods could provide him with the most suitable soul skills based on his own desires. In the future, add 9 100,000-year soul rings to the magic blade Thousand Blade. The first soul ring will have an enhanced soul skill, while the remaining 8 soul rings will have the aforementioned 8 skills used as soul skills. Compressing the 2 soul skills of each 100,000-year soul ring into only 1 soul skill should further enhance the power of soul skills. Thinking of the powerful power he possessed at that time, Lin Yizhang couldn't help but burst into laughter. No, I'm still a little chubby now. I can't be too happy too early. Lin Yizhang wiped his mouth, which was about to drool. Well, the development direction of the first martial soul magic sword, Thousand Blades, has been planned now. Once confirmed, cultivate your second martial soul and essence first. For the ontology martial soul, although I didn't notice any introduction about it while watching the anime, I know online that ontology martial soul is also a very powerful martial soul. For soul masters who awaken their physical and martial souls, the more important the awakened part is to their body, the higher their level will be, and they can continue to awaken. Now that one awakens to be the entire body, that is the most complete physical martial soul. I remember the anime Poisoning Douluo Dugu once said that the soul master who awakens the twin martial souls has similar levels of the awakened two martial souls. So both of my martial souls are very powerful. Lin Yizhang also found that his two martial souls can be used at the same time. It is unknown whether Bibi Dong and Tang San can use both martial souls at the same time, but his two martial souls can indeed be used at the same time. Next, it's time to think about which path to take. Directly exclude joining the two major empires and other small sects, factions, and families. Lin Yizhang thought that if he didn't join the Seven Treasures Glass sect, the sect would be wealthy and talented. When he grew up and married Ning Rongrong, the Seven Treasures Glass sect would become his own. After thinking about the feasibility for a while, Lin Yizhang dispelled the idea. The more one is valued and grows up in the Seven Treasures Glass sect, the more dangerous it becomes. The two major titles Douluo within the sect will not protect themselves as closely as they protect Ning Fengji, and they also have to consider the sect's interests in everything they do. Moreover, they must only be in love with Ning Rongrong, which is not satisfying. Choosing to join the Martial Soul Hall and join Bibidong's command can be said to be the best path, but Bibidong should not accept male disciples. Even if Bibidong admires his incredible talent and is taken as a disciple by her, it would be his life as an assistant to Helena. Bibidong treats Helena like his own daughter. After considering multiple options, Lin Yizhang ultimately rejected them. It seems that the most suitable path for oneself is always to become a free soul master. I traveled to Douluo and had such a good start. To avoid danger based on the advantages of the Prophet, in Lin Yizhang's view, Douluo continent is a world to enjoy. To act according to one's own desires, to act according to one's own nature, is the ideal life for oneself, rather than planning every day. As long as you enjoy life well and strive to improve your strength, even if you eventually die, you won't feel too frustrated. In Lin Yizhang's heart, being happy every day is the most important thing. He will pursue immortality and immortality, but death is also acceptable to him. There is a saying that Lin Yizhang quite agrees with, which is, "If you die under the peony, being a ghost is also romantic." Of course, Lin Yizhang is not the kind of person who likes to be content with the status quo. A man born in heaven and earth, how can he remain depressed and stay below others for a long time? It is also Lin Yizhang's pursuit to make a great achievement. Although Lin Yizhang may seem somewhat contradictory in this way, it can be understood by using the phrase, if one is successful, they will benefit the world, if one is poor, they will be self-sufficient. After planning to become a free soul master, Lin Yizhang also planned how to hunt soul beasts to obtain soul rings and what type of soul beasts to hunt. Lin Yizhang thought about whether to take advantage of Tang San's 3 months left to study at the Junior Soul Master Academy in Notting City. Tang Hao had not yet discovered Xiaowu, so he found the little rabbit in advance and used various methods such as coercion, inducement, and deception to give Xiaowu a chance to sacrifice and obtain the first soul ring for 100,000 years. Then Lin Yizhang shook his head again, realizing that the harm outweighed the benefit. Not to mention the danger, even if you successfully obtain a 100,000-year soul ring, can you really activate soul skills? You should know that even the title Douluo cannot release the 9th soul skill many times, let alone himself. And in the future, if you release a martial soul ring, you won't have to be targeted by others. You can't just keep using your martial soul, right? Of course, Xiao Wu can also be abducted first, but with a 100,000-year-old soul beast, if one day a strong person catches his eye, he will feel cold. So for now, I won't pay attention to Xiao Wu, and Tang San can't either. I have had too much contact with the book garden www.zhaoxuan.com. If I get the label of Tang San's Way of Death, it would be a tragedy. After much thought, Lin Yizhang decided to first cultivate his self-created soul skill. The skill of Magic Knife Thousand Blades not only relies on soul power to activate, but also requires spiritual control. It is certain that one's spiritual strength as a traveler is stronger than that of peers. The Magic Blade Thousand Blades is one's own martial soul, which is related to oneself and does not require reaching the level where spiritual power can be released externally. Nowadays, one can attach spiritual power to thousands of fragments for control, which reflects the uniqueness of martial souls. After carefully recalling those 8 skills, Lin Yizhang decided to first cultivate the skills of Thousand Blade Unity and Thousand Blade Chasing the Moon. Thousand Blade Unification is the process of concentrating the fragments of the magic blade into a blade melee attack, while Thousand Blade Chasing the Moon is the process of separating the fragments and changing their shape at will. These two skills do not require excessive mental power to finally control the Thousand Blade fragments. And other skills require precise control of the Thousand Blade fragments, and currently my spiritual power is not strong enough. It will take several days to cultivate these two self-created soul skills. Even if you know the principles, practicing this water grinding technique is the most important part. Thinking of this, I understand that the next step is to familiarize myself with martial souls and create Thousand Blade Unity and Thousand Blade Chasing the Moon. Lin Yizhang walked to the middle of the room and summoned the magic knife Thousand Blades. It's time to observe it carefully now. The blade is composed of a black handle and a half-cut blade, with blue stripes on the blade, revealing patterns of evil spirits. The blade on the half-cut blade is composed of thousands of fragments. Thousands of blade fragments are the most special. They are now combined to form a knife, with only cracks visible between each fragment and no gaps visible, tightly bonded. Chapter 5. Cultivating Self-Created Soul Skills. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this moment, Lin Yizhang could clearly feel the connection between himself and the martial soul. He could feel every part of this knife, with thousands of blade fragments, all of which were within his perception, as if he were one with them. He could control them as freely as he controlled his left and right hands. Attempting to inject soul power into the martial soul, I felt that the blade formed by the thousand blades had become stronger and would not collapse with a single blow. Lin Yizhang walked out of the room and arrived at a large stone, injecting 1/3 of his soul power into his martial soul. He wielded his sword and swung towards the stone, only to see that Qianbian had not disintegrated at this moment and was still in the blade state. A deep crack was cut through the large stone. When watching anime, I saw the first soul skill of various soul masters, and I felt that the power of my own sword was much greater than that of the first soul skill of ordinary large sword martial soul masters. Next, Lin Yizhang devoted himself to familiarizing himself with and developing martial souls. Finally, Lin Yizhang was surprised to find that the thousand blade fragment could be fixed in its position solely by soul power, without the need for spiritual power to control it, without leaving the handle. That is to say, in the future, when using thousand blades to simulate various forms, such as knives and swords, you only need to input soul power to maintain it without consuming mental power. This is different from Lin Yizhang's initial conjecture, but it is undoubtedly a good thing. After exploring for a while, Lin Yizhang realized that he had awakened his martial soul and needed to add more meat to his meal. However, the villagers didn't have much meat to satisfy his appetite at home, so he had to start making some meat himself. Lin Yizhang quickly found a way and turned to walk towards the Tang San family. Arriving at the blacksmith shop of Tang San's family, Lin Yizhang saw Tang San forging iron at the moment. Tang San also saw himself and asked, "Lin Yi, are you here for anything?" I want to find you to use iron to strike 10 small things, Lin Yizhang said, and then described to Tang San the appearance of a fish hook, which has a barb-like shape. Tang San quickly finished fishing, and the fishing hook was only a little technical and didn't require much iron, so Tang San didn't charge any money. Leaving the blacksmith's shop, Lin Yizhang quickly made 10 fishing rods, found a few earthworms as bait, and set them up in a fish-infested area by the river. This fishing trap is not difficult to deal with, just fix the fishing rod, put the bait on the hook, and throw it into the water. If the fish is hooked, the hook with barbs will not be easily broken off by the fish. Come and check it out at night. Returning home to continue practicing his self-created soul skills, Lin Yizhang spent the afternoon practicing his self-created soul skills and using meditation techniques obtained from Su Yun Tao to restore his soul power. As it was almost dinner time, Lin Yizhang went to see if he had caught any fish. He came to the river and put away all the fishing rods. Lin Yizhang was very happy because he had caught 2 fish weighing 7 or 8 pounds. After removing the fish and baiting the 10 hooks again, Lin Yizhang changed the position and continued to set traps. Then, he carried the fish and walked towards the village where he was going to eat tonight. The weight of the 2 fish, weighing around 10 to 20 pounds, was as light as nothing on Lin Yizhang's hands after awakening his martial soul. Having successfully eaten the fish he had caught for dinner, Lin Yizhang inexplicably felt a sense of achievement. Then it occurred to me that Tang, who was 6 years old in the animation, seemed to be eating porridge before he woke up to Wu Soul. No wonder he was thinner than his family eater. By the way, wouldn't Tang San be able to make some meat by himself? In his past life, he was already in his 20s or 30s. Is his survival skills very useless? Not to mention, it's really possible that Tang San has been living in Tangmen since he was picked up in his past life. The sect provides food every day, and as he grows up, he becomes addicted to crafting hidden weapons, so it's really possible that he doesn't have any survival skills. Thinking of this, Lin Yizhang couldn't help but smack his lips, and his meal became even more delicious. For the next 10 days, during the day, according to the planned plan, we will continue to explore martial souls, develop our own soul skills, and fish to improve our food quality. At night, we will continue to practice soul power according to the meditation method we obtained from Su Yun Tao. If we are really tired, we will sleep. I remember the master Yu Xiaojiang mentioned in the anime that after reaching the bottleneck, the soul power obtained from continuing to cultivate will be released after obtaining the soul ring. Although many of what Yu Xiaojiang proposed were wrong, this statement was verified by Tang San and his team. In Lin Yizhang's view, this logic is very reasonable. However, after obtaining a soul ring to break through the bottleneck and increase by a large level, the cultivation speed cannot be compared to before the breakthrough. So continuing to cultivate soul power on your own is not a futile effort. After 10 days of cultivation, the 1,000 blades returned to one can be considered proficient in application. The 1,000 blades chase the moon can control the combination of the 1,000 blades to form swords, sticks, and small shields. Now I can also create some self-created soul skills that do not rely on martial souls. It is best to use self-created soul skills that consume less soul power but have greater power, as I currently do not have much soul power. I currently only have level 10 soul power, which has both advantages and disadvantages for creating my own soul skills. The advantage is that there is less soul power, making it easier to achieve precise control of soul power. The drawback is that the soul power is too low to create powerful self-created soul skills, and it is easy to consume, always requiring meditation to restore soul power. At this moment, Lin Yizhang thought of a self-created soul skill. Spiral Pill. Lin Yizhang knows a rough idea about this thing, which is achieved by rotating and compressing soul power in the palm of his hand, and finally throwing it out. The power of this self-created soul skill is related to the degree and amount of soul power compression. This self-created soul skill belongs to the category of self-created soul skills that consume less soul power but have greater power. Zhaozuiyuan.com. The difficulty of this self-created soul skill lies in compressing, rotating, and maintaining stability, among which maintaining stability should be the most difficult. This requires continuously injecting soul power evenly into the rotating soul power and compressing it. If the injection of soul power is not evenly distributed, it will cause the spiral pill to explode in the palm of the hand, making it easy for one's own hand to be injured. After understanding its principles and areas to pay attention to, Lin Yizhang continued to immerse himself in creating spiral pills. 15 days have passed in a row, and Lin Yizhang is finally able to skillfully rub the spiral pill with his hands. During this time, Lin Yizhang has also suffered some hardships. The spiral pill has exploded in his palm many times, but fortunately, the explosion only occurred during the initial practice. At the beginning, it would be practicing spiral pills with little soul power injection. After becoming familiar with the techniques, I continued to increase the amount of soul power injection to practice. However, there was no explosion afterwards, and my speed of hand rubbing the spiral pills became faster and faster. Although I can proficiently rub the spiral ball with my hands and ensure that it does not explode in the palm of my hand, once thrown out, it will explode not far from the palm of my hand, which is not satisfying my imagination. Therefore, it is stuck here now and needs to find a way to solve this problem. After trying for 5 more days and using many methods, the spiral pill was finally created perfectly by changing the throwing technique to keep it spinning in the air. It has been exactly a month since the awakening of the martial soul. With these self-created soul skills, even if you cannot defeat the Soul Lord or the Millennium Soul Beast, you can still escape. In small places like Nodding City, one's own safety is basically guaranteed, and one can go and obtain the first soul ring to continue improving their strength. Chapter 6. Hunting for the first soul ring. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next morning, Lin Yizhang found old Jack and gave him a reason to say that he would leave the village and should not come back in the short term. After that, he left Holy Soul Village alone. Lin Yizhang arrived at the entrance of the soul hunting forest near Nodding City. It was already noon, and it was indeed as lively as in the anime, like a shopping mall. Being a 6-year-old child without adult companionship, coming alone to such crowded places can easily attract attention. Lin Yizhang found an empty place and dirted himself up, hiding his handsome little face. He then leaned over to some adults who were coming and going, watching the situation at the door. Without a warrant, Lin Yizhang couldn't enter the soul hunting forest, so he was looking for an opportunity to sneak in. Quickly, seeing a soul hunting team about to enter, I quickly followed behind them, keeping a certain distance from the team's people but not too far away, and successfully managed to sneak in. After entering the forest, Lin Yizhang immediately chose a direction to rush towards the depths of the forest. Along the way, he avoided people and carefully avoided soul beasts. Along the way, Lin Yizhang also saw many people hunting soul beasts on the road. He saw white 10-year soul rings and yellow centenary soul rings, but they were all soul rings produced by just over a century-old soul beasts. Lin Yizhang's goal is to hunt down a soul beast with stronger bloodlines, but it is rare in small places like the soul hunting forest. Therefore, when encountering a soul beast with a strong physique and a lifespan of 400 to 500 years, Lin Yizhang plans to hunt it down. Although I haven't learned any knowledge about soul beasts, I just hunted a soul beast under 1,000 years old. I don't need to know what the soul beast is called, nor do I need a very precise soul ring age. Just roughly judge based on the depth of the soul ring color. It's not necessary to be precise to single digits like the master Yu Shaojiang. The lifespan of soul beasts has already been calculated in units of 100, 1,000, 10,000, and 100,000. Even studying the differences in those years is simply satisfying. Gradually, seeing the 100-year-old soul beasts appearing more and more frequently, Lin Yizhang no longer continued to walk deeper, but instead searched horizontally. In this soul hunting forest, there are probably some 1,000-year-old soul beasts, so I cannot go too deep myself. After searching for 2 hours, there was still no harvest, so Lin Yizhang found an open place to rest. The ones I encountered on the road were all soul beasts with low blood levels, and I didn't like these soul beasts, so I avoided them directly. Some soul beasts noticed themselves and rushed forward without saying a word, wanting to treat themselves as food. For these soul beasts, Lin Yizhang casually rubbed a spiral ball and threw it over to stop them from running over, then quickly ran away. Although my soul power is still abundant, I didn't have lunch and am still hungry. My body is also a bit tired, so I have to consider withdrawing to the outskirts before dark and having a soft bone rabbit for dinner to stay overnight. Just as Lin Yizhang was planning to continue tomorrow, the roar of a soul beast came over. Listening to the thick, tiger-like roar, Lin Yizhang couldn't help but feel excited. It seemed that this was a powerful soul beast, hoping that it could bring him surprises. In this way, if you hunt and kill this soul beast to absorb the soul ring, you can leave the soul hunting forest before dark. Lin Yizhang quickly ran over to investigate the situation and found a hidden location. Looking from a distance, there were indeed two soul beasts fighting. One is a pig-like soul beast that is covered in flames, with a body length of 3 meters and a height of over 2 meters. It looks very powerful, so let's call it the flame pig. The other one is a tiger-like soul beast, which is about the same height and length as the flame pig, but looks much more powerful than the flame pig. From the soul power attacks released during their encounter, it can be seen that the soul power color of that tiger-like soul beast is slightly lighter than that of the flame pig, so the age of that tiger-like soul beast should not be comparable to that of the flame pig. Even so, the situation in the field is not dominated by the flame pig, but by the tiger-type soul beast. It seems that if we continue the battle, sooner or later the pig-like soul beast will be defeated. As expected, as the battle continued, the flame pig was soon killed. But at this moment, the situation of the tiger-like soul beast was also a bit awkward. Anyway, the flame pig was also older than it, and its skin was rough and its flesh was thick. Killing the flame pig must have cost it a lot of effort. The struggle between sandpipers and clams brings benefits to the fishermen. Just as the tiger-like soul beast slowly walked past, wanting to have a full meal, Lin Yizhang decisively showed his head and rushed towards the tiger-like soul beast. While rushing, he rubbed the spiral ball with his hands and threw it over. After an explosion, the soul beast was blown back several meters. Without waiting for the tiger-like soul beasts to take action, Lin Yizhang summoned the magic sword Qianbian, directly injecting half of his soul power, unleashing the Qianbian to return to unity, and chopping towards it. As the saying goes, take advantage of your illness and take your life. With Lin Yizhang's blow that didn't give him a chance to catch his breath, the tiger soul beast was killed with a single blow. After playing a sneak attack, Lin Yizhang successfully killed the soul beast. A yellow soul ring floated up, lighter in color than the soul ring produced by the pig. The flame pig should have a lifespan of over 800 years, and this tiger-like soul beast should have a lifespan of 400 to 500 years. There shouldn't be any other soul beasts coming here in the short term. The 800-year-old soul beast can be considered the dominant force in this forest. However, to prevent anyone from coming, Lin Yizhang took the unknown tiger-type soul beast to a nearby hiding place and began absorbing soul rings. As the soul ring was pulled onto the body, a huge warm current suddenly appeared in the body, which rushed towards the 4 limbs and bones of the body. Lin Yizhang knew that the soul ring was quite dangerous when it first entered the body, so he had been prepared for it and there were no accidents. After half an hour, the soul ring slowly became stable and eventually disappeared. Lin Yizhang opened his eyes and felt the power filling his body. He couldn't help but smile and said that he should have level 12 soul power at zhaozhuiyuan.com. Standing up, I found that after absorbing the soul ring, my figure had undergone a significant change. I had grown nearly 10 centimeters in height, and now it was over 1.4 meters and close to 1.5 meters. My body became even stronger, and my clothes no longer fit well. Feeling the first soul skill he had obtained, Lin Yizhang quickly smiled. It was an ideal soul skill. Diamond transformation, with a 15% increase in all attributes, and an additional 5% increase for each additional soul ring. This soul skill is quite incredible. It is a rare percentage boosting soul skill, and the boosting effect is not weak. After looking at the sky, it shouldn't be a problem to leave the forest before dusk. Lin Yizhang summoned a magic sword with 1,000 blades and quickly cut off the tiger skin of this soul beast. The tiger whip did not leak, and as for the rest, Lin Yizhang couldn't take so much, so he didn't pay attention to it anymore. Alas, if I had a storage soul guide, I would definitely take away the entire soul beast along with the flame pig. It's a waste now. Lin Yizhang grabbed the tiger skin and whip and began walking towards the outside of the forest, with the strength to lean against him, but he did not encounter any danger. Successfully walked out of the soul-hunting forest, and it was already dusk. Lin Yizhang found a shop, and the shop owner couldn't tell at a glance that it was a 6-year-old child, but rather an 8 or 9-year-old child. He didn't underestimate Lin Yizhang and sold the tiger skin and whip, earning 120 gold soul coins. Regarding items such as soul masters and soul beasts, the prices will not be very low. There is a huge difference in the value of currency used by soul masters and commoners, just like there is a gap between soul masters and ordinary people. To Lin Yizhang's surprise, the tiger whip and tiger skin were sold at the same price, indicating that the tiger whip is also very popular among people in Douluo continent. Chapter 7. Go to Soto City. You are listening at novelfull.audio. With money, Lin Yizhang first bought a fitted outfit and spent a gold soul coin. Then, he went to an inn and rented a room for a gold soul coin. After taking a shower in the room and removing all the dirt, Lin Yizhang felt refreshed. Looking in the mirror, my blue hair has grown longer and my facial features have become more three-dimensional. Previously, little Zhengtai's face has also lost a bit of childishness. In short, in one sentence, she has gone from cute to both cute and handsome. Lin Yizhang immediately walked down from the inn and sat down at an empty table by the window on the first floor, ordering a meal. It's almost evening, and this inn is also bustling with activity. Some soul masters who have returned from the forest come here to eat and stay, while others have rushed here to eat and stay, planning to enter the soul-hunting forest tomorrow. The meal was soon served, and Lin Yizhang ordered a lot of meat. As he was starving for almost a day, he buried himself in the food without saying a word. After finishing the food like a whirlwind, he went up to bed and went to sleep. Hotels like this are a mix of good and bad, so there's no need to worry too much about the danger. After all, most of the guests are soul masters, and there aren't so many foolish young people to provoke those who don't know if they're pretending to be pigs and eating tigers. After a beautiful night's sleep, Lin Yizhang felt full of energy. After washing up and having breakfast, Lin Yizhang left the inn and returned to Holy Soul Village. He informed old Jack that he was going to leave Holy Soul Village to explore the mainland, and then left Holy Soul Village. Next, Lin Yizhang plans to go to Soto City. I remember the anime said that this place is located at the border of two empires, with a developed economy and known as a granary. What Lin Yizhang values is that he has some understanding of this place and the economy is developed. There is a soul fighting arena that attracts a large number of soul masters to gather. The growth of soul masters cannot be separated from soul masters. For example, it is almost impossible to buy soul beast meat to eat in rural areas. On the way to Soto City, Lin Yizhang also inquired about a lot of information like many people, and gained a lot of knowledge through his observations, although most of what he knew was common knowledge from Douluo continent. I heard more information about Soto City. Soto City is located within the Kingdom of Barak. There are two most important cities within the Kingdom of Barak, one of which is the capital city of King Kandera of Barak. Barak City, which is the political and economic center of the entire Barak Kingdom. And another city is the city of Soto, located in the center of the wealthiest immediate plain within the Kingdom of Barak and known as Barak's Granary. Both cities are heavily guarded and are of utmost importance to the entire kingdom. Soto City is a large city with the third level of the Martial Soul Hall, the Martial Soul Main Hall, stationed there. Lin Yizhang is not in a hurry to travel. He travels during the day and stays at hotels and inns at night to practice soul power and sleep. When encountering a town on the road, I would go shopping, and even if it's lively, I would go for a stroll. The originally 2-day journey ended up taking a month. Lin Yizhang arrived at Soto City, and after entering Soto City, he felt the prosperity of Douluo continent, truly worthy of being an economically developed region. I thought I would encounter some robbery, child trafficking and other incidents on the road, but nothing happened. Feeling puzzled, Lin Yizhang reflected on whether he had delusions of being murdered. In his imagination, he believed that his god was blocking the killing god and the Buddha was blocking the killing Buddha. In the end, he arrived at Soto City without any danger. Lin Yizhang quickly found the reason behind it. Nowadays, the mainland is relatively calm, and the two empires are currently under pressure from the Martial Soul Hall and have not engaged in large-scale wars. Moreover, there is no evil soul master as a black and evil force, only a few fallen soul masters. These fallen soul masters will also be dealt with by the Martial Soul Hall, and the overall social security is quite good. Lin Yizhang felt that this continent was full of danger everywhere due to the influence of online comments from his past life. Those posts said that Tang San destroyed the capital of slaughter, released the fallen soul masters inside, and caused the emergence of a group of evil soul masters on the continent 10,000 years later. Of course, it is not to say that there is no danger in oneself. After all, it is impossible to eliminate all black and evil forces. The only danger I am currently facing is the money on my body and the possibility of someone having ulterior motives. After all, as a cute and handsome child, selling it should be quite valuable. I think there are several hundred gold soul coins available, hehe. I know the principle of not revealing wealth, so I currently do not have any life-threatening threats. Watching the people coming and going around, Lin Yizhang also became curious and wanted to see if there were any interesting and fun things in this Douluo continent. Lin Yizhang wandered around, passing by some shops and indulging in some interesting products, but he didn't plan to buy them. He wasn't wealthy enough to buy whatever he saw as interesting. Those shop owners don't pursue it, after all, they are so cute. Playing with their products is equivalent to doing free advertising for them, attracting more people to come, hehe. Soto City is so big that it takes only a few days and nights to stroll endlessly, so Lin Yizhang is not obsessed with shopping all the time. After getting tired, I went to the hotel. Of course, I first ruled out going to the Rose Hotel. Going there on his own is just a way to live and suffer. Lin Yizhang is not that foolish. Finally, I found a medium-sized hotel, and now I only have 50 gold soul coins left on me. I need to find a way to make money. After all, having money can better enjoy life. Lin Yizhang thought about the way to make money, and he quickly had many ideas. However, he is still a child now, with weak strength and limited funds, so he cannot go to great lengths to make big money, so these ideas are not useful. Finally, I decided to go to the soul fighting arena every night to bet and participate in gambling battles. Money is the easiest way to make money, and watching the soul fighting between soul masters, I believe I can also gain something. During the day, I have plenty of time to practice. The idea is good, but it depends on one's own judgment. After all, one does not know the outcome of soul fighting. If one loses, they will have to find another way out. Lin Yizhang continued to practice in his room in the afternoon and didn't stop until evening. After finishing his meal, he walked towards the soul fighting field. Before entering the soul fighting arena, Lin Yizhang bought a mask and put it on. Many people do this, so he won't be very conspicuous. In addition, the clothes he wears at this time are more popular, making him appear ordinary. No one should pay special attention to him. Walking up to this tall soul fighting arena, I noticed the list at the door. As mentioned in the anime, This is the list of soul masters who died during the soul fighting process. Seeing the names on it, Lin Yizhang's heart was touched. I walked in, but because I was only a soul master, I didn't plan to participate in the soul battle yet. I planned to keep the gold soul coin as a bet, so I didn't register for the iron soul battle. At this moment, many people have already arrived at the soul fighting field, but Lin Yizhang knows that more people will arrive later, because those wealthy individuals who lack soul power and cannot become soul masters, as well as ordinary civilians who can afford entry tickets, enjoy watching the soul fighting field at night after working all day. Firstly, after taking a look at the battles in each soul arena, Lin Yizhang noticed that the two sides of these soul battles were mostly newcomers or the owners of iron soul badges. Looking at the book garden www.zhaoshuyuan.com, there was a feeling of novice pecking at each other, but there was not much to see. The closer you approach the main soul fighting area, the higher the level of the soul master badge of the fighting soul master. The emblem of soul fighting has a total of 8 levels, from bottom to top. Iron, copper, silver, gold, purple gold, sapphire, ruby, and diamond. At this moment, there happened to be a solo soul fight in the main soul fighting arena. Lin Yizhang paid the entrance fee and went in to find a seat to watch. The two sides of the battle are a middle-aged man with a beast spirit cheetah, and a middle-aged man with a weapon spirit sword. Don't ask Lin Yizhang, a illiterate person who hasn't read a book, how he knows what their martial souls are called. It's just that there are basic information about both sides of the soul fighting on the big screen. Lin Yizhang now realizes that he needs to systematically learn about soul masters and soul beasts. Previously, he didn't go to Nodding City to study because he didn't want to get in touch with Tang San, not because he felt that the knowledge was useless. On the contrary, he thinks it is necessary to learn these knowledge. After all, he plans to travel all over the continent, and without some basic knowledge, it is definitely not possible. After silently recording this matter in my heart, I looked at Do Soul again. Watching their battle, Lin Yizhang nodded. It wasn't that rookies were pecking at each other. They had plenty of combat experience and good skills. The difference in soul power levels between the two sides is not significant, and the quality of martial souls is also comparable, with no significant difference in strength. In Lin Yizhang's view, the final victory should be the beast martial soul master, because before obtaining the soul skill of the martial soul true body at level 70, the beast martial soul still had an advantage over the weapon martial soul. Furthermore, the cheetah soul master follows the agile attack route, and there is a high possibility of winning a long-lasting battle with his speed advantage. As expected, in the end, the beast martial soul master won. Chapter 8. Soul Fighting Field. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin Yizhang looked at the big screen, ready to analyze the player information for the next soul fight, intending to place a bet on the next soul fight. First, use 10 gold soul coins to try Shui Xian. The information of both sides in the next soul battle is limited, and only the name, martial soul, and battle record information are displayed on the big screen. Not providing too much information is obviously due to the fact that the big soul battlefield is trying to make the betting person less inclined, resulting in the soul battlefield being at a disadvantage. One named Zhang Fan, a martial soul dragon pattern spear, has won 4 consecutive victories. Another one is called a madman, with a martial soul that is fierce on the earth. He achieved an astonishing 7-game winning streak. Lin Yizhang speculates that the current soul power level of the madman has reached level 29, because during the stage of the Great Soul Master's soul fighting, he achieved 7 consecutive victories, which is a very good record. As for Zhang Fan, his record of winning 4 consecutive games also indicates that he is probably above level 25, or that his soul skills are very impressive. Speculating that the probability of the madman winning is high, Lin Yizhang left the audience to bet. Arriving at the betting counter, Lin Yizhang saw a middle-aged man without a mask betting. Seeing this middle-aged man's face, he was somewhat surprised because he was none other than Flender, the flying horn in the golden iron triangle. Frand is really easy to identify. With such a special appearance, there is only Frand in Douluo continent. He looks around 50 years old, although he is not young, his figure is very robust. The face is very distinctive, with a slightly protruding chin, wide cheekbones, flat face, and a slightly hooked nose. If we have to use something to describe him, then we can only say that his face is a bit like a shoe sole, and he looks a bit cunning. Seeing that Frand was also betting, Lin Yizhang leaned in to see who he had bought and who would win. He also followed him in buying, ensuring that he could make a profit. After all, he was an iron rooster. "Bet me 300 gold soul coins to win Zhang Fan," said Fran, taking out a bag of gold soul coins and handing it over. Lin Yizhang was somewhat surprised and immediately thought that Zhang Fan might be Shrek's student. "I also bet 40 gold soul coins to win against Zhang Fan," Lin Yizhang said and handed over the gold soul coins. Fran glanced at me a few times. After all, most people are more optimistic about the madman winning. Of course, he didn't pay much attention because there were also some people who saw that the odds of Zhang Fan winning were higher and chose to take a gamble. Returning to the audience and waiting for the start of the soul fighting, not long after, the soul fighting began, and the two contestants walked onto the soul fighting stage. As they summoned their martial souls, Lin Yizhang also identified their identities. Both of them did not wear masks to conceal their identities. The handsome young man who was over 1.7 meters tall but less than 1.8 meters, looking 13 or 14 years old, should be Zhang Fan. He held a long spear, which was pitch black all over and appeared to be covered with black dragon scales. The tip of the spear seemed to have a dragon head attached to it, making it look extraordinary. Judging from his age and strength, it can be basically determined that he is a student at Shrek College. Another robust young man, who is nearly 20 years old and possesses the martial soul Earth Bear, should be a madman. Both of them were the best match for 2-century-old soul rings, and then they reported their martial souls and levels to each other, Zhang Fan at level 27 and Madman at level 29. The battle quickly began, and the madman launched the attack first. He clenched his fists and slammed the ground with a fierce force. At the same time, the first soul ring lit up, the first soul skill, the fierce bear cracked the ground. A strong shockwave with a width of about 3 meters surged towards Zhang Fan on the ground. After releasing his first soul skill, the madman also charged towards Zhang Fan's position. Zhang Fan did not panic and quickly dodged towards the right side, while his spear stabbed directly at the charging madman. The madman also flexibly dodged the attack and planned to continue approaching Zhang Fan, as the saying goes, 1 inch long and 1 inch strong. His goal was to engage in close combat with Zhang Fan. Zhang Fan was also aware of his flaws and did not allow him to easily approach him, so the spear changed from a stab to a sweep, forcing back the madman. The two of them entangled and started fighting together. The madman saw that he couldn't easily approach Zhang Fan, so he used his second soul skill again and shouted, "Try my second soul skill, the second soul skill, the hand of the fierce bear." Douluo continent soul masters like to shout out their soul skill names during battles, because when they first obtain a soul ring, shouting out the soul skill name will make the soul skill release more smoothly. After becoming proficient in using soul skills, calling out the name of the soul skill has no effect, but perhaps it's because of habit, or because it's very challenging, everyone still calls it out. Lin Yizhang doesn't think much of this. If it's a surprise attack or a battle of life and death, he won't shout out. For example, when the fighting souls in the open upright arena shout out, he will feel very excited, and the audience will also feel more excited. The hands of the madman instantly transformed into the hands of a pair of earth ferocious bears, with sharp bear claws appearing on their fingers. Their left and right hands waved their claws towards Zhang Fan one after another, like a raging bear tearing apart everything in front of them before they would give up. Faced with the second soul skill attack of a level 29 soul master, Zhang Fan's face also became solemn. His soul power was even 2 levels lower than his opponent's, and he dared not use it too much. He directly used his first and second soul skills. The first soul skill, unstoppable, the second soul skill, move forward without hesitation. I saw the majesty of the spear suddenly climb to its peak, and then suddenly thrust forward. Bang, only a loud explosion was heard, and suddenly a strong wind howled. As the dust in the field dissipated, only Zhang Fan stood on the soul fighting platform with a gun, feeling somewhat exhausted. The madman, on the other hand, was directly knocked out of the soul fighting platform, with his left hand covering his chest and blood flowing from his mouth. Obviously, he was not lightly injured, but he did not faint. The host is a young man, not known to himself, and Lin Yizhang is somewhat regretful that he did not see this beautiful host. As the host announced that Zhang Fan had won, cries of sorrow echoed in the room, indicating that he had lost the bet. No matter how the others were doing, Lin Yizhang was also a bit excited at the moment. He should have won a lot tonight and quickly went over to exchange the bet. Arriving at the gambling exchange, Lin Yizhang saw Frand. This guy didn't visit Zhang Fan. Isn't Zhang Fan a student of Shrek? That's not right either. If we weren't very clear about Zhang Fan's background, how could Frand pressure so much money? Although puzzled, he didn't idle and handed over the certificate in his hand. I received the money as I wished, with a total of 210 gold soul coins. I searched the book garden www.zhaoshuyuan.com, and Lin Yizhang first wandered around the soul fighting field. After confirming that no one was following me, he left the soul fighting field. Frand is a familiar character, and as for why he didn't approach him just now, Lin Yizhang plans to go to Frand's small shop tomorrow to find him. In theory, Frand should have taken in Ma Hongjun and Oscar at this time. I remember it was when Frand went to help awaken the martial soul in the village and met Ma Hongjun. Frand was interested in his innate level 9 soul power and flying martial soul, and took him as his own disciple to inherit his legacy. When did Oscar enter Shrek Academy? Lin Yizhang doesn't remember, but it seems that his innate talent for food-based martial souls, which is full of soul power, was not abducted by the martial soul hall. It is likely that it was also discovered by Frand digging seedlings to help awaken the martial soul. I and Tang San are currently 6 years old, so Ma Hongjun should also be 6 years old now, and Oscar is 8 years old. Dai Mubai should be 9 years old now. He seems to have entered Shrek College at the age of 12 and 25. There are Ma Hongjun and Oscar at Shrek Academy, so there must be some books in the academy. Currently, most of Douluo's writing is unfamiliar to me, so I can study with Ma Hongjun. However, Lin Yizhang did not intend to join Shrek College or owe Shrek College any favors. The solution he came up with was to collaborate with Frand to make money, and he gave most of the benefits to him as a condition for him to agree to study as an observer in Shrek. With Frand's personality, as long as he has money to earn and doesn't suffer losses, he must agree to this small request. Even if people from Shrek Academy find that their soul masters have outstanding talents and want to leave, they should not forcibly stop themselves. After all, they are not a force and have no motivation to kill geniuses. Chapter 9. Hot Air Balloon Collaboration Money Making Project. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As for how to cooperate and make money, Lin Yizhang also came up with an entertainment project. The entertainment in Douluo continent is really scarce. Soul masters, besides practicing and fighting souls, usually just go shopping, eat delicious food, and listen to music in Golan. Lin Yizhang plans to create several hot air balloons with Douluo characteristics. Facing wealthy people, taking off and circling in beautiful scenic spots, with Frand, a flying agility attack type soul saint, as the security officer. The principle of a hot air balloon is to lift it up with buoyancy, and the straight point is to heat the gas inside the balloon. Such a simple principle, even without the various materials on Blue Star, Lin Yizhang has confidence in using the materials existing on Douluo to create it. Lin Yizhang suddenly thought that no one in Douluo continent would think of applying hot air balloons to war. Think about the scene when Bibi Dong was about to launch a surprise attack on the third sect, where a group of flying soul masters controlled the wind direction and had the soul masters from the martial soul hall parachute onto the third sect in a hot air balloon. TSK, don't be too beautiful. No one in Douluo could have thought of these things. After all, most soul masters have arrogance, and their minds are only thinking about their own martial souls and soul skills. Few people can even create their own soul skills, let alone things they are not very familiar with. But even if we do it like this, it's still very dangerous. If we use the 9th soul skill of the title Douluo flying to the sky and smash the hot air balloon, the soul master who can't fly will have to fall to death. Thinking too far away, Lin Yizhang shook his head, telling himself not to think too much of a mess. In the next few days, Lin Yizhang went directly to collect materials and started making hot air balloons. After more than 10 days of hard work, we finally succeeded in a remote area outside of Soto City. The next day at noon, after practicing soul power, I had lunch and walked towards the shop opened by Fran. Yesterday when I was shopping, I found his small shop, but it was closed at that time. Entering the store, Lin Yizhang didn't directly talk to Fran, but looked at the products. He looked at every item in the store and spent 2 hours. Fran just lay on the lounge chair, taking a nap, ignoring it. After looking through it all, he also found the golden hair, piled up in a corner, and the black crystal looked nothing special. Lin Yizhang didn't go to get the crystal, but walked up to Fran and said to him, "Hey boss, you can't make much money from buying these tattered soul guides. Do you want to work with me to make a lot of money? I know that senior, you are the dean of Shrek Academy, a soul saint with flying martial souls." Fran opened his eyes, looked over, and said, "Oh, you have a little kid who knows some way to make money. Let's take a look." Fran has nothing to do and is very leisurely, so he doesn't rush out just because he's a child. He also didn't know that the person he met when betting in the soul fighting arena before was himself, and he was wearing a mask at that time. Just by looking at my appearance, he only thinks that I am an 8 or 9-year-old child, and his soul power level is not detectable even without using soul power. "This is my money-making plan." He handed Fran a 3-page hot air balloon plan and continued, "Senior, let's finish reading it first. This plan was written last night and is a detailed plan to collaborate with Fran to make money using hot air balloons." Fran quickly finished reading the plan and said, "What do you mean is that you create a hot air balloon that can make people fly into the sky, and then let those wealthy people sit on it to play? I'm responsible for ensuring their safety and earning their money together." "Yes, do you think it's just a joke now? Once I analyze it for you, you won't think so. Our collaborative project is to first advertise and then write about the feeling of wanting to try flying into the sky. Do you want to try enjoying the beautiful scenery above the sky? Do you want to leave a beautiful memory with your beautiful girlfriend in the sky? If you want, then come and experience the Huangguashu waterfall outside Soto for free early next month." Such advertising slogans. Then promote it on the Great Soul Battle Arena, and there will definitely be many people who will be interested. Even if most people think it's bragging, there will always be some people who will take a look. We will have a free test flight for 1 day, and those who have experienced or witnessed it will naturally help us spread the news, and then we will be able to charge for the tickets. You should know that only title Douluo or flying soul masters can fly in the sky, and those wealthy people are definitely willing to spend a lot of money to play. This is my money-making cooperation plan. How about it? I am responsible for providing hot air balloons, and you are responsible for protecting passengers' safety." Fran said, "Can you really make a hot air balloon that can carry people to the sky? Is it safe? How long can it fly? I have already made one, and there aren't many customers in your store. You can come with me out of the city to try it out now," Lin Yizhang said. Fran was obviously also interested in hot air balloons that could carry people to the sky, and immediately agreed to go out of the city to try hot air balloons. Arriving outside the city, Lin Yizhang took out the hidden hot air balloon and asked Fran to take him to the high mountain next to the Huangguashu waterfall. After preparing the hot air balloon with his hands, Lin Yizhang sat directly on it and ignited it, successfully flying the balloon. When Fran saw that it was really flying, he was also very surprised and released his owl martial soul to fly up. A hot air balloon can roughly control its flight direction by controlling whether the 4 stoves on it ignite or not, and can basically control which direction it flies to without significant wind interference. Lin Yizhang himself was also riding a hot air balloon for the first time, but with Fran, the safety officer, beside him, he didn't feel any fear. The feeling of watching the beautiful scenery below from the sky in a hot air balloon is so wonderful. Looking down at the Huangguashu waterfall, the forest. Looking at the blue sky and white clouds around me, it is truly delightful. Fran finally sat up and experienced it. After the test flight, Lin Yizhang asked Fran how he was thinking and whether he planned to cooperate to make money. Fran agreed directly to the cooperation and asked Lin Yizhang to go to his store tomorrow to discuss the cooperation matters in detail. Due to the early maturity of people in Douluo continent, it is not surprising that children aged 8 or 9 can do business. And Fran thought that Lin Yizhang was a 9-year-old child. The next morning, Lin Yizhang visited Fran's store again. "Kid, what is your name and identity? Why didn't I find any information about you in Soto City?" asked Fran in confusion. Lin Yizhang did not intend to conceal his identity and directly told him his name and that he was from the Holy Soul village of Nodding City. Although he had innate soul power after awakening his martial soul, he did not have the opportunity to study at the Soul Master Academy and recently came to Soto City. Fran nodded and then discussed the matter of cooperation. After some negotiations, Lin Yizhang was granted the qualification of an observer at Shrek College on the condition of only 10% profit. So, on the same day, Lin Yizhang moved directly into Shrek College and went to the book garden www.zhaosuiyuan.com. In the college, he saw Ma Hongjun and Oscar. At this moment, they were listening to Professor Li Yusong's lecture under the big tree next to the playground. In addition, I also saw Zhang Fan listening to the class. Yes, it was Zhang Fan from the martial soul dragon pattern spear I met in the soul fighting field before. From Fran's mouth, it was already known that Shrek College now only has 3 students, which seems to be Zhang Fan, Oscar, and Ma Hongjun. Lin Yizhang didn't go directly to disturb them, and only went over to greet them after they finished their lesson. "Hello, my name is Lin Yizhang. I am a new spectator in the college and was recruited by Dean Fran. I am 9 years old and my martial soul is my body, with a level 12 soul power." Ma Hongjun first responded, "Big brother, are you also here to study at Shrek? The martial soul I awakened this year has just entered Shrek Academy. My martial soul is very powerful, it is a top-level martial soul phoenix. I have reached level 10 soul power now, and once I obtain the soul ring, I will become a soul master." After speaking, he looked up with a proud little rooster posture. Ma Hongjun, who is 6 years old, is quite cute with short fiery red hair. At this time, he is not considered fat, and he is not the chubby little guy he saw in the anime. Oscar also introduced himself. "My name is Oscar, and I am 8 years old. I am a level 16 food soul master and a martial soul sausage. I have been in Shrek for over 2 years." Zhang Fan also introduced, "My name is Zhang Fan and I am a student at Shrek College. I am 13 years old and a level 28 second ring soul master with a martial soul dragon pattern spear." Zhang Fan seems to have enrolled in Shrek College last year and is now in the 28th grade, which should have been a breakthrough in the past few days. Li Yusong also introduced himself and the situation of the college, and then took Lin Yizhang to find a dormitory. Chapter 10. Harvest of 2.5 years. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In this way, Lin Yizhang settled down at Shrek Academy, learning soul beast knowledge with Ma Hongjun during the day, practicing soul power at night, and sometimes going to the soul fighting arena to watch the soul fighting. He kept betting on Lin Fan and won a lot of gold soul coins. In addition, I cooperated with Fran's hot air balloon making project and also obtained the board crystal from Fran's store. From this crystal board, Lin Yizhang obtained tens of thousands of dragon whisker needles. When injecting soul power, the dragon whisker needles will stretch into thin needles, and when their soul power is exhausted, they will curl up, which can be used for sneak attacks and espionage. Although this thing may not be effective for soul beasts with shell protection, it is a chilling weapon for soul masters. 2.5 years have passed quickly, and Lin Yizhang is now over 8 years old, almost 9 years old. It has been 2 years and 8 months since he awakened his martial soul, and his soul power level has been cultivated to level 20. It takes a lot of time to learn, exercise, and try to create cultivation techniques suitable for oneself based on meditation in daily life. After the daily absorption of soul power by the body reaches a certain level, the cultivation speed will slow down, which should be due to the fragility of the internal meridians, otherwise it should have reached level 20 long ago. In terms of learning, I have already completed all the books in the college and the books that Fran can borrow. Even if it is not at the level of an undergraduate, it is at least at the level of a high school graduation. In addition to books related to soul beasts, Lin Yizhang also spent money to help Fran find many books related to basic herbs to learn. Of course, it is a true basic herb, without the level of advanced or immortal herbs. For the sake of the golden soul coin, Fran also brought many non-mainstream and rare books of this kind. He exercised very well, and during that time he also bought a 1,000-year-old whale gel in Soto City. The effect of this thing he saw in his videos is to enhance the soul master's physique. In the current era, it is only used as an aphrodisiac. He currently has no intention of telling anyone this secret. Nowadays, the physical strength is comparable to the average level of a level 30 soul master, which means there is hope of absorbing a millennium soul ring. But Lin Yizhang is a hedonistic person who doesn't plan to take risks or attract people's attention. Moreover, he will have the opportunity to pass the divine examination to upgrade his soul ring years in the future. Now, he plans to absorb a soul ring that has been around for over 900 years. As for the idea of transforming the underworld, there has been no progress. Nowadays, our strength is still relatively low, and the advantage of our physical martial soul is not very obvious. I always feel uncomfortable when trying to exercise soul power in my meridians, and I don't know if it's a psychological illusion caused by fear or other emotions. Now Zhang Fan is 15 years old, with level 34 soul power, and is about to break through level 35. Oscar is 10 years old and has soul power at level 21. Ma Hongjun is 8 years old and has level 17 soul power. Lin Yizhang has also become familiar with the three of them, especially with Zhang Fan, who has the strongest relationship. For Zhang Fan, a common genius, his innate soul power is as high as level 9. Tang San did not have his presence when he entered the anime. Lin Yizhang speculates that he may have graduated from level 40, or perhaps he died while obtaining the third or fourth soul rings. I remember when Dai Mubai introduced Shrek Academy in the anime, he said that during the 20 years since its establishment, Shrek Academy has recruited dozens of students, but not many have graduated smoothly. Most of them died while obtaining soul rings. When Ma Hongjun wanted to obtain the first soul ring, he suggested to Franda that when we needed to obtain the soul ring, Vice Dean Zhao Wuji would personally lead the team and bring the four of us to experience together. Franda agreed. If Zhao Wuji wants to personally lead a team to hunt soul beasts and obtain soul rings, it is not a treatment that belongs to Shrek's students. The situation where Zhao Wuji leads a team in the anime is that there is an extraordinary person in Shrek's 7 monsters. Tang Hao personally stepped forward to ask Zhao Wuji to take good care of Tang San. When facing the Titan ape, Zhao Wuji took the initiative to cut off. Lin Yizhang did not believe that Zhao Wuji was really willing to use his life to protect the calf. Perhaps there is a reason why Lin Yizhang, who has been a teacher for many years, has developed a caring heart for the younger generation, but he is more willing to believe that it is Zhao Wuji who knows he has no confidence in escaping from the Titan ape alive. If we try our best to protect the children and escape, Shrek Academy can still have a glimmer of hope. Otherwise, even if we successfully escape back to Shrek Academy alone, we will still be unable to escape death, which is why we are so fearless of death. For ordinary civilian soul masters without identity background, when they enter Shrek Academy and need to obtain soul rings, they are mostly led by Lin Yizhang or Lu Qibin, who have not yet broken through the Soul Emperor. Lin Yizhang and Lu Qibin don't seem to stand out in the anime, and Lin Yizhang thinks they may not be very responsible either. Lin Yizhang knew that Zhao Wuji had a gravity-enhanced soul technique and often bought him alcohol to activate his soul technique to help him and Zhang Fan exercise their physique. It is precisely because he often receives education from his elders with Zhang Fan that his relationship with him is so strong. Oscar and Ma Hongjun are still childish and playful nowadays. Lin Yizhang is busy with studying and practicing, but he doesn't have much interaction with them. However, after a long time of contact, everyone can be considered brothers in the same circle. It was precisely with Fran's orders and Lin Yizhang's frequent buying of alcohol for Zhao Wuji, as well as his usual activities with Zhang Fan to help him move his muscles and bones. Therefore, when Zhang Fan wanted to obtain the third soul ring, Zhao Wuji personally led a team to help. As for Ma Hongjun, his martial soul has flaws, and his low strength has not yet been clearly exposed. When going to obtain the first soul ring, Lin Yizhang proposed to Zhao Wuji to find a top-level soul beast with phoenix bloodline as the first soul ring, citing that Ma Hongjun is Fran's biological disciple and allowing the four of us to better experience it. Even if we spend more time searching for the soul beast, it's not a big deal. Zhao Wuji agreed. With his ability as a soul saint, hunting soul beasts that have been around for less than 1,000 years is not a big risk, and he can also obtain a high-quality soul ring for Fran's successor. In the end, Ma Hongjun also successfully obtained a soul ring with a 400-year-old phoenix bloodline. His martial soul also underwent significant changes, his wings became more solid, and his phoenix bloodline was also purified to a certain extent. His martial soul became more like a phoenix. Moreover, his evil fire has a tendency to be freely controlled by soul masters, and there is no need to vent fire in anime to continue cultivation. With his innate level 9 soul power, without the influence of evil fire and women, his future prospects are infinite. After seeing Ma Hongjun's changes, Fran also planned to search for phoenix-blooded soul beasts to hunt and obtain soul rings for him in the future. As for Oscar, Lin Yizhang only suggested that he go to the soul fighting field to buy sausages and sell them specifically to those who have been injured in the battle, at a price of 1 gold soul coin per sausage. He would sell around 10 sausages a day, which would not delay his cultivation but also earn a lot of money. At the same time, the leakage of his soul skill effects is not a big problem, as it is only a common restorative soul skill. Although its effects are stronger than those of the same level, it cannot be seen by high-level soul masters. Standing up and stretching lazily, Lin Yizhang thought that his soul power level had reached level 20. After asking Zhao Wuji to help obtain the second soul ring, his strength would greatly improve. I have already learned the relevant knowledge of soul beasts. If I stayed at Shrek Academy, besides Zhao Wuji's gravity soul skill, it would be of little use to me. Therefore, Lin Yizhang planned to obtain the second soul ring and leave Shrek Academy.